Hello, hello. What's up? What's up? It is a new day, it is a new week, and it's time to get social. My name is Kayvana, and welcome to the Introvert's Social Hour. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Introvert Social Hour. Today, we are going in depth about Broadway 2024 and what that looks like. I know I talked about the Tony Awards this year. If you haven't checked out that episode, go check it out now before you listen to this one. But we're going to go real in depth today. And I'm saying we because I brought my friend and fellow musical theater lover, Daniel, on this podcast today. So welcome, Daniel. We're just going to go right into it. How you doing today?
Hello, I'm here. I'm bright and awake very much today. So here we
It's a slow start, right? I feel like the weather's not popping off that much out here in the city today.
Thank God. Thank
Yeah,
God.
tea
Nice
on
day
that. It's
today.
been too hot. Um, so I do want to let's talk about like our overview of our theater background and like our love for Broadway. I want you to go first because you've had a longer experience than I have. So go ahead.
um
What is your love story for Broadway and theater?
yeah, so I think my like it started off, so my aunt, my mom's youngest sister, um she did theater all like throughout like high school and all of that. Um and I got really into it just kind of hearing like stories about her. Um, and then I think for me, when I got to high school, which I think is the like never ending same story of I got to high school and I was like, oh, this is where doing theater is where I can like escape and be myself and da 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 yada yada yada.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's really where I kind of fell in love with theater and got invested in like what's going on in New York, what's going on in the West End, what's going on in the like theater Broadway world. And so I really like looked up stuff online. I would like read books and stuff, and like books on like theater and stuff were still, popping.
Mhm.
And then my senior year of high school, that's when I really was like, okay, I'm gonna go to college and study theater and do all of that. And so when I got to undergrad, that's where like I was like, okay, cool, theater, Broadway, we're gonna make it.
Mhm.
And so that's really where like a big part of my interest came in. So I started like listening to a lot more of the Broadway soundtracks, the cast recordings. I would see a lot of shows that were touring. Um, and so that was really like my main way of like entering that world. And then the first time I saw a show in the city, granted I was in high school, but I knocked out the entire show because I had just sprained my ankle. It was a moment. it was
Okay.
it was Phantom. That was the only time I saw Phantom the Opera, and
And you
I
didn't
loved
really
it.
see it.
I didn't really see it. I know it was so sad, but here we are, and maybe one day I'll see a revisioned version of it. Uh,
Yeah.
but then my first show here in the city that I saw was Kinky Boots with the original cast in
Billy Porter and team.
2018, I think, coming into
Mhm.
2019, the time before New Year's, before we came.
Got you. Okay.
Um, and I was like, oh, theater here is like next level.
Mhm.
Um, and so like that was still the time where I was like, oh, I'm gonna do theater like professionally and all this stuff. So I really like got into it.
Mhm.
But then I think like academically when theater just wasn't for me, but I was still interested in, that's when I like really delved into like Broadway culture and was like, okay, so who are these performers? What shows have they done? What shows are they gonna do? That's where I
Mhm.
kind of like learned about like Jeremy Jordan, love to death.
Yeah.
Um, Learned about Ava and was able to meet Ava when she was on Hadestown. It's like I really, and then now especially living here in the city, it makes it so much easier.
So
It's
much.
so
Yeah.
dangerous. Add on the lotteries and everything
Hmm.
every week. every
Yeah.
week. But I think being here in the city and I think talking with you, I've like definitely thought about dipping my toe more into it. I just don't know where to start, but also
Mm.
here we are, and I'm still gonna enjoy whatever I can get out of it. So
Yeah. I man. Well, thank you for that full detail. It's so funny because there's times where I'm like, you sure we're a theater major? Like I know that, but it's just so funny because I remember like when you were just a theater major, and then I remember that switch that happened. And so it feels like such a distant memory. Um,
That it
it
does. That it does.
yeah, because you were in the plays and stuff. You were doing your thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I was over here
yeah.
being cast as the lead in Santiago. I was over here
Uh,
getting punched in the face. It was a wild time. But, here we are doing higher ed. So,
Hey, listen, like I said, I always say you never know. Um, but yeah, emphasis on the fact of it being hard too. They don't make it easy for you to rise up. And I'd say from nothing in quotations, in a sense of not having those automatic support systems and things like that, especially from a dance perspective, it comes a little different. It's like people automatically, if you have money, you get connected a bit faster. It is a lot about who you know and things like that. And but yeah, it's a figuring out and it's a puzzle piece, and they definitely don't make it easy for you to be able to audition for things without an equity card. But
God, yeah.
yeah, it's a trial and error. Mine's is going to be really quick, I guess, in a way. So in a way, I've always loved theater, because I've always loved The Wiz, like since I was young. But it was always like musical movies. I never, because my mom isn't someone who's like into like theater like that, nor my grandma. So like I wasn't going to shows or anything like that. And then the basic things, High School Musicals and all that stuff. It counts. It counts. Um. And then it was when I was in high school and I was waiting for my mom to pick me up, and I heard the musical team rehearsing for In the Heights. And that was my first time ever hearing it. And I was like, "Ooh, what's this?" It was literally the opener. And I was just like, "Oh, this is a vibe. Like I like this." So then I got into In the Heights, and then I found out, "Oh, wait. Oh, snap. It just so happened to be that same time period. Wait, he's got another musical coming out. It's Hamilton." Then I got into Hamilton. And then I ended up going to college, and then I was watching theater shows, whatever I could see. We had La Jolla Playhouse there now too, so I was just trying to like really get the experiences that I hadn't had before. Um, and then from there, just like finding other musicals that I enjoyed along the way. What ended up happening was this was before I went to study abroad. We had talked about that. I remember we drove, or you drove, and we went somewhere, and you told me about Wicked. And I was like, I don't know anything about Wicked. I was like, I just know, like it's like it rolls with Phantom of the Opera for me. It was just like, the musicals everybody hears and talks about that've been around for a long time. You always see the commercials when they're on tour. And so you were telling me about it. I was like, okay, wait, okay, hold up. And it just so happened that my study abroad program was paying, well, we had to still pay a portion, of course, but they were paying student discount tickets to see Wicked. So I was like, oh yeah, let me sign up. Let's go. That's a cool little field trip. I could finally see it. And I got to see it in West End. I was like, so that was technically my first show, my first big show. La Jolla Playhouse counts, of course, but like those are my
Yeah.
first big shows. And then I also saw Mean Girls, Six, and
Mad
Tina.
about
Yeah. Oh no, why did I say Mean Girls? No, Waitress. Tina. I'm missing six. I'm gonna say Waitress. Did I say Waitress instead of Mean
that.
Girls?
Yeah.
Yeah, I Mean Girls instead of Waitress. Yeah, I've never seen Mean Girls.
Okay, I
That
was gonna
maybe
say.
I was projecting there for a second. Yeah, I've wanted to see it. I was supposed to see it, and then COVID happened, so that was what happened there. Um, but yeah, I saw those four: Waitress, Wicked, Tina, Six, and that was
Here.
with almost the original cast. Well, the original cast. People have their nights where they're off and stuff. Um, And yeah, and then just kind of just went from there. That same year, that's when we went to New York, saw
Mhm.
Beetlejuice and Hadestown. Sound.
Oh,
Yeah. And then it just kept rolling from there. And then now I live in New York, so the playbills have been stacking up. I'm Broadway on a budget girl all the way, so I try to get
literally.
them on discount. It's very rare when I pay full price for a ticket.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Couldn't be me.
Um, no, it just isn't. We've done it before, but at this point now,
Yeah.
it's like
And now
no.
living here, I'm like, why?
Yeah,
Why
mm-mm.
would we ever?
I love to like I'm true bargain shopper. I love to be able to sit in the orchestra and like hear people be like, "Oh, I paid $184 for my ticket."
I
Wow,
paid
can't
$40.
relate. Right. Exactly. It's like, yeah, I didn't even pay half of that, so I don't know about that.
Who would?
Yeah. But I don't mind it at all. Even though sometimes it's like partial view, but even then partial view is really not that bad either, depending on
Yeah,
where
no.
you are, depending what theater. Okay, so let's go into it actually. Let's talk about the Broadway shows we have seen so far in 2024. There was a lot going on in 2024, a lot of new shows that just popped out. I feel like I didn't know, but I should have known when they were like closing Phantom out and all the other stuff that they were setting up for like a complete refresh because that's what it really felt like was they're like, we gotta add some new stuff to the table. And theaters were clearing. And it's gonna happen again too, by the way, because a lot of shows are about to close soon to this so they can push in some new shows for fall. Um, but with all those new shows that have popped out, what have you seen? And what did you think about
I
them?
have seen, I think out of like new ones, I've seen The Notebook. The Notebook. That's all I need to say for that one. I've seen, I think like Moulin Rouge a couple of times this year, even though that one isn't really new, but that one
Mm,
amazing, beautiful.
mhm.
I saw Gatsby. Um, what other did I see? Me looking at all of these. The Wiz,
Mhm.
Lempicka,
Okay.
Lempicka. We
Mhm.
will talk about Lempicka because I have feelings about Lempicka.
Okay.
Um, Cabaret, gagged, and then the one that really had no idea what I was getting myself into, but enjoyed it was Illinois.
I knew you were gonna see it because we talked about it. Yeah. I want to
Illinois,
see it. Okay.
yeah.
You got a few up there. No, you've been doing good this
And
year.
then I've like the ones that I've seen in general this year that have been on. So like I've seen six.
Mhm.
Um, Gag, loved it. Saw it for the
Of
first
course.
time. Amazing.
Why did I not know that was your first time?
Yeah, right. It's one of those shows where I truly was like, why have I not seen this?
See, I feel like when you told me that for the first time, I'd have been like, "Oh my gosh!" But I
Yeah,
literally did not know that was your first time watching it. In my head, I thought
yeah.
you had seen it already. Okay.
I saw Angeliette for the first time, which in my head I still think it's new. Um, and then I saw Book of Mormon, Wild Time,
Got it.
Wild Time,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wild Time.
Yeah, I have not seen that. People always say, "Oh, you should see." I was like, eventually. But if I get the opportunity to watch Hell's Kitchen or Book of Mormon, I'm gonna go watch Hell's
Yes,
Kitchen, you know?
because yeah,
Because
I want to
like
see
also
that.
Book of Mormon's been around for so long. I'm just like, it's gonna be there. We'll talk when it's not, you know?
Yeah,
Um, okay. So you hit a lot. I'm just gonna talk about the new ones that popped off that I watched. I also wanted to emphasize something that's just me being extra. It's The Great Gatsby because there is a
sorry.
different musical called
The
Gatsby, and
great is Gatsby the one that's at ART, or is that
I
one
bel
also the Gatsby?
I don't know the theater, but yes, I believe so. I would
Okay,
say yes. I just know it's not in NYC. So
yes, then
yeah.
okay.
But I was like, I had to be reminded that there are two different Gatsby
The
movies.
Great
Or not
Gatsby,
movie musicals.
the
Yeah.
new musical. Sorry, a new musical.
Oh, yes. But I also saw The Notebook. I saw The Outsiders. I saw The Wiz. I saw Great Gatsby, and I saw Water for Elephants. I was able to see The Notebook, The Outsiders, and The Wiz before Tony Award season. And then Great Gatsby, Water for Elephants was recent, within the last month. Yeah. So, and then, of other ones, of course, I just saw Wicked on Broadway for the first time.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm so glad that you were able to see that.
the fact that I won the lottery shook, first off. Second off, I also just want to say I went on the wrong day. They were so kind.
Kavana.
They were so kind. And they gave me a new ticket. Yeah. That's how my life's been going. First off, that just tells you right there. But also Wicked has a different setup. So you know how lottery usually you win and it's for the next day. So
Mm-hmm.
for Wicked, because they have different time frames, you can win and it could be for the same day. So that's just something for you to
Oh,
know.
hate
Don't
that.
forget that. Yeah.
Hate that.
So I forgot that because everybody else's system is different. Like Wicked literally is the only one who does it that way. And so I was like, oh, I won the lottery per. went on about my day. It wasn't going to happen anyways because for a few for other reasons. So I'm glad it just really worked out that way that my mind automatically assumed the next day because I wouldn't have been even able to really do it that same day anyways.
Uh,
So it all just worked out in perfect timing, and I'll just take it at that. But I thought so when I first found out, she said, no, it's not accepting it. I said, but it says Broadway Direct. He's like, it's legit. And I got lottery.
she's
But
like,
no,
sweetie, that was for yesterday.
yeah, she was like, go to the box office. That gives me hope. Thank you for letting me know to go to the box office. She didn't just turn me away. So, um, and then let's see. I've never seen Hamilton live. I've never seen the Book of Mormon live. MJ. I've seen Six. Like I said, but I've seen it both Broadway and West End, and then I've seen and Julia as well. There are a few others around town, but you know. They come and they go. I'm very curious to see what big shows will close soon. But
Yeah.
the shows that have been around for a while, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I'm surprised Anne Juliet has been around for so long.
Don't I have yes.
And it's
That
not a
was a
bad
lot
show.
for that one show.
Yeah.
But
It's not a bad show. I'm just surprised it's been around as long as it has. But I think it's such a cultural connected show with like the pop hits, and it's such a family like show that they know it's something that can have big like families come and show up for. And I think maybe that's why their numbers are still doing so great, especially if people are constantly coming to New York City and they want to find something new. Oh, the family's seen Wicked already, the family's seen Hamilton already. Oh, okay, and Juliet. So that's what I'm thinking because you can't really take your kids to go see like you're not gonna want to take your kids to see The Notebook
yeah.
or certain things like that. So you want to take your kids to something that they want to bop to. So I think that's maybe why, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
my theory on that. But this is no, it's a good show. I'm just surprised it's been around as long. Uh, with that, I do want to know your opinions on these shows. I want to ask this one first because I hadn't had a chance to ask you yet. But what did you think of The Wiz? And be honest, be honest.
So it's definitely not I agree with you in that like it is not The Great Gatsby, it is not Wicked, it is not The Notebook, it is not Moulin, like it is not a show that was like production.
Yeah.
This is production.
Mhm.
Very surprised first time that I was in a theater in a hotel.
You've never been to the Marquise?
No.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so Beetlejuice had moved there after they had closed during COVID. So Beetlejuice in their
Yeah.
last few lives was at the Marquee. So I've been to the Marquee twice at the point, only
And
for
I saw
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. We saw it at the Winter Garden.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I had never been there. So I was like, oh, this is a hotel. And I think with the current shows on Broadway, I was like, I don't see any other show in this theater except The Wiz right now. Because of like, I
Mm,
just knew about like the production of it. I was like, this makes sense.
okay. I will differ
I
with that just because I've seen Beetlejuice work. Um, I think it's possible. It just,
that's
you know,
I think like
yeah.
with I don't even have yeah, period.
No, yeah, I get it. From your perspective, I would
Yeah.
understand because you've seen like to be fair, The Wiz is a simpler production.
Yes.
So if that's the first
Yeah.
time you've seen it in the first time in that theater too, that makes
Yeah.
sense. But no,
Um,
once Beetlejuice works in there, I like it makes it possible
that
for
may,
like
but
anything
and then
else.
also I saw like the other shows that had been there. So like Modern Millie was there, and I'm like, okay, that
Mm,
was a big show with Sutton Foster, and I was like, okay, so big
mm,
shows have been here.
yeah.
Um, but I so like for me, The Wiz, there's also like the added. So like my aunt, my mom's youngest sister, who passed away 20 something years ago. She was really into theater and all of that. And her senior year of high school, her and a group of friends for their like, I think for their final or just whatever, put together
Mm,
a production of The Wiz.
okay.
Um, Totally did not follow the like. who was supposed to be casted in
Hmm.
this show, but
Hmm.
here we are.
Yeah,
My aunt's
like,
favorite show or movie
mhm.
musical was The Wizard of Oz. Her favorite singer was Judy
Got
Garland.
you.
Like it was just like a lot of like just ties to it.
Okay.
And so the only other reference performance that I have ever seen other than the show that I just saw
Hmm.
was with my aunt in it. And she played the
Okay.
Wicked Witch. She played Eveline.
Oh.
So I like going into this showing of The Wiz, I already was like, I know this is going to be a lot for me in a good way, in an emotional
Mm.
way. I'm going to have a good time just seeing this because I'm doing this because I know that if my aunt was still here, she would have moved to the city and eventually would have also seen it. So I was like, I'm doing this for us.
Okay.
Every person in this show
Say it.
deserves a Tony,
Talk it.
deserves full accolades, deserves
Hmm.
roses. The Tin Man deserves every bit of praise. When that man sang "What Would I Do," I
Hmm.
cried. I'm getting goosebumps right now. I cried so much. I
Hmm.
I could. And Dorothy,
Right. Let's talk about Nichelle.
look, when
Miss
I tell
Nichelle
you,
Lewis.
not I'm not saying this in a like because they're both black women. I'm not saying this. I'm saying through power and pure artistic ability, I see her going the way that Cynthia went.
Oh, I can see that. They have similar vibes, though. I get that 100%.
The minute she started
Hmm.
singing, I was like, oh,
Yeah. They have similar singing qualities.
I was like, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. This she's gonna be in a in like 5-10 years when they
Hmm.
re-record The Wiz for like movie
Hmm.
musical.
Yeah.
If he is not casted as Dorothy, I
Talking.
will personally pull up to the equity
Hmm.
office and slap whoever I need to get her into
To
that
do.
movie because I
The
am
note she
mad.
hit.
I am mad that this show is closing
Hmm.
because I'm getting emotional about it. I'm about to start thoroughly crying right now. Beautiful. That show, beautiful. Eveline, beautiful. The way that
Hmm.
they did, I was very surprised. Didn't hate the way that they did the Yellow Brick Road
Hmm.
with like
Hmm.
the soldiers marching.
Yeah.
I loved the Emerald City scene.
It was different. So here's the thing. I say it's so different because you've never seen the movie version.
I have seen the
But
movie.
well, you have seen the movie version. Okay.
Yes.
So it was different, but I wasn't mad at it either.
And I
Yeah.
was expecting the movie version.
Sing.
Like
Hmm.
I was waiting for the
You
and
got
then
to be
like things were gonna
seen.
change and
Green.
stuff.
Yeah, same.
But hoot and holler because I had a great
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
A great, and there was just so many times I can go on for the show forever. There was just so
Valid.
many where I was like, the set, also the Wiz's dance scenes, like the last song that he did where he was like, "Peace
Hmm.
out, I'm leaving," amazing.
Yeah.
I think because the production or like the set was so simple,
Yeah.
I say simple with still in that like it was still really good.
Yeah.
It allowed for their performances to shine so well. Like
I
the
agree. Yeah.
Scarecrow, gagged.
Avery
Lion,
Wilson. Avery
the
Wilson. Then you got Kyle
Lion,
Freeman. Yeah.
the entire cast, like they was this all like one of their first shows? Because I know it was
Kyle. Kyle
Michelle.
has he's been on the Strange Loop.
Okay.
Um, but
Yes.
he's really fresh because he graduated from AMDA not that long ago.
Okay.
But I think he was like he graduated from AMDA and got on the Strange Loop. He wasn't OG, but he was like understudy kind of for the main character. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
Or like he followed after the original person who
Okay.
started that role. And then Nichelle, yes, this is her first big her she's this is her Broadway debut. Avery, this is his Broadway debut, but he's not new. He's been around for a while. In his singing career.
Okay.
This was his first like Broadway theater big moment.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think for this to be either some of their first time or some of their like whatever on
Hmm.
stage like that, I can't imagine. Like, I know I have no right to say these that they should be proud of themselves. I have no right to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they kicked
Right?
complete booty on stage.
So I do want to move on to talk about a different show, but I do want to say that I 100% agree. I think it's unfortunate because the talent, I think wiped out many talents that were, nominated for things. So I feel like they at least deserved a nomination for their talent. Because there were certain things that I had seen people who were nominated for stuff, and I was like, you sure
Mm-hmm.
about that? I
Mm-hmm.
think what happened this year, even talking in regards to, and we're going to talk about The Great Gatsby, was one thing drops the ball in the theater world in quotations, and then it just kind of drops for everybody. And I think that's unfortunate and really unfair because yes, it is a, like you said, like simple quote unquote production, but I don't know. I think I understand that people probably want to see more. I think I personally wanted to see more too, but then I also get what you're saying in the sense of it gave them a moment to shine, and it was just to tell a story and emphasize the story and the feelings and the connection with things. So I totally get
And
that.
I no, sorry, I'm gonna keep going, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. We'll do a
No, you're
part two.
good. Yeah, part two next week, But yeah, talking about that, The Great Gatsby. So I watched it after the Tonys, so not really understanding why they had such low nomination awards, considering they had Jeremy Jordan, they had Ava. So it was just kind of like, oh, okay, that was interesting. Like I thought this was gonna be the hit. Saw their commercials everywhere, the parties roaring on, all that stuff. And so when I finally saw it, for me, I'm seeing a big production. There's nobody on that stage who's not popping off in their vocals. For me, I think maybe if anything, the score was kind of in and out. Um, personally, and there were some moments in the book that were kind of in and out along with the score, but I
Mm.
don't think that granted as little nominations as they got. I was actually really surprised by that. Um, but what did you think of The Great Gatsby? I know you loved it, but what in detail did you love about it?
I I went into it being like I want to see Ava just because
Mhm.
I love Ava.
Yeah.
And then okay, period, I want to see Jordan, cool, period, let's live that love.
Yeah.
I saw it with Jeremy and then with the understudy.
Got it.
The first time.
Okay. Yes.
No shade to the understudy.
Hmm.
This show very much was made for Ava and Jeremy. You listen to the score, you listen to the
Yeah.
music, you watch the show. It is made for Jeremy and Ava, especially Ava's parts. Like
Yeah. Her specific. She
Ava
has a
can do
specific
like
voice.
she has the ability to do like they made this in my I think that they made the show being like we want Ava to be Daisy.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I had my feelings that first time around and I was like, okay, cute. Don't know if I'm gonna say this again.
Mm.
Saw it a week later with Ava. I took all the words that I said, threw them out my 13th-story window, and made sure that they got ran over by every single car that passed by.
Okay.
Because this show is, I think, as of right now, my top show of the last couple of years that I have seen.
Top show out of the years.
Personally, this
Wow.
show, like, like lights, everything, set, everything, beautiful, everything, Jeremy, everything, Ava. The minute she
Mm.
opens her mouth, the minute she takes down that newspaper,
Yeah, we
over.
knew that was her.
It's over. I listening to her, listening to both of them sing "My Green Light."
Mm,
I cry. This show is she makes Ava makes the show, and I'm sure that's a lot of pressure for her. I'm sure
yeah.
Ava makes the show, and seeing it with Ava and Jeremy, and I know that also like it's the added context of like they've been working on this since out of town. They've had a lot of time to build
Yeah.
chemistry. They've had a lot of time to build the relationship of Jay and Daisy. I understand that. The way that those two dance and mingle with each other on stage through their
Mm.
dialogue and through their singing, and also Nick,
Oh
the
yeah,
perf-
yeah. That's my new man's. Loved him down.
roaring on the minute he starts over. And that too, like this show
Mm.
starts off with like banger, banger, banger. Because it's like roaring on, you're like, cool, period, love this. This is where we're going. And fully not
Mm.
the way that I thought the show was gonna open. Because I was like, oh, this
Mm.
is like the Great Gatsby. It's not like this like party. I mean, in
Mm.
my head, but I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I see where we're going with this. And then we go into Daisy's song, being like, okay, this is cute, fun, fresh. And then we have New Money.
Mm. Got
New
that
Money is
new
my
money.
running
Na, na, na,
song.
na.
I learned the entire choreography of the last 2 minutes of the song.
I cannot.
Those are my feelings on the Great Gatsby.
So that's hilarious. I'm glad that you love it so much. It's good. Yeah. I think for me,
This is where
certain
you
song.
didn't like it. I'm
No,
just
I
kidding.
said that I thought it was good. I just feel like you're like really like the songs are here. Da, 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 da. For me, I think maybe I need some of them to marinate for some time, you know? Like
That's
maybe
fair.
it's one of those things that don't hit. Because when I heard New Money for the first time, I was sitting there, I kind of get it. I'm kind of not vibing with it. I'm kind of here, but I'm kind of not. That was me for
God,
New Money. I know. I know.
interesting.
Yeah. Um, but whatchamacallit, what I really loved from like a director standpoint, when the show opens and Gatsby's back is to us and he's looking out at like the river or whatever, and then the little thing passes through,
You mean at
Gatsby
the end?
disappears. No, it happens in the beginning and the end. Then where were you?
It
That's a
happens at the beginning.
reflective. Yes, that's a reflective moment. So in the beginning, because of course I was like, that's Jeremy. And then all of us,
I didn't realize that.
yeah, it's Jeremy, and then it's swoosh, and then it's Nick. And then he's like,
Because I
hey,
only
da
see
da
it
da
at
da
the
da da da
end.
da. Starts open up the story. hmm It's a reflective moment. So it happens in the beginning and it happens at the end. You saw it twice, sir.
Well, looks like I gotta see it a third time.
Well, you better catch it before they close. Um,
Don't say that.
yeah. I mean, they are closing, so
When?
yeah. Is it not? Let me see.
Oh, they already announced it.
I thought they
Oh,
did. I could be wrong. Hold up.
I hope you're wrong.
I maybe the Great Gatsby closing. I thought they had announced it. I could be tripping. I thought they gave a certain amount of weeks left. Yeah. Uh, look at me stalling. Dude.
Literally.
Dude. Okay, yeah. Maybe I'm tripping. They're not closing yet. So okay then. So let's talk about that too. Also, and then I'm just gonna move on to the next show. So also too, they want them on Broadway. They know they're bringing in the tickets. Once again, back to what's up with the Tony noms. But awards are awards. We'll go from there. So I'm glad about that actually, because I don't know in my head I thought they were one of the
I was
musical
like, wait a minute.
states. My bad, my bad. There's a lot of them closing soon. Um, okay. I saw Water for Elephants. I'm gonna give my quick notes because you haven't seen
Yeah,
it,
how was
right?
that? Yeah, no, I have not seen it.
Um, I love the ensemble. They put in their
Okay.
work. Aerial, stunts, tricks, flips, everything. They're gymnasts, they're dancers, all of the above. I loved it. Um, Grant, he's taller in person. Just kidding. Um, but for me, I feel like his vocals are not as strong of a hitting point.
Mm.
I think it was very much of a stunt cast kind of thing. I mean, yeah, he sung in The Flash and stuff, and he was known for, he ate down Smooth Criminal and Glee. I'll tell you that much. It's good. But for me, I just don't think Water for Elephants fit him. And it wasn't as strong. He didn't feel like a strong singer. And I don't
Mm,
know if that was just a bad night or what. It wasn't like he was cracking and stuff. It just didn't feel powerful, you know?
oh,
And I say that because I've seen his understudy sing a similar song. Well, we'll sing the same song that he sung, like his "I Want" kind of song, because I went to
mm,
Broadway in the park in Bryant Park, and his understudy gives more oomph to it, you know. So that's just why I'm just like, that's all. I feel like for me, the story's, it's there.
mm.
I do like the production of it. Um, because once again, a lot of tricks, they use a lot of things to give those illusions of things, and it's animals and stuff too. It's very pretty, but I
Okay,
don't think story wise and music wise it didn't catch me. Like I can't tell you any songs that was like, yes.
okay.
Yeah, the score wasn't hitting for me.
Is it still worth seeing?
I would say yeah. That's why I think for me, once again, I'm like dancer production girly more than like music sometimes. So I'm like, okay, maybe the music's bad. Like, I'm not gonna say bad, but like maybe the music doesn't hit as well for me. But I want to see what the whole entire team is doing. Like, they do a great job. When I tell you that one person's doing aerial hammock, and the next time we see them, they're doing rope. Two very different aerial skills. Like, as a person who does aerial, they take two very different forms of strength. And then the next thing we
Mm.
know, I see them freaking doing flips and flops across the stage. So it's like really intense. Like
Not
that's a
the flip
show
flop.
that right? That's a show that they can't be lazy on. I just imagine their stunt call every day because that's got to be incredibly intense. But yeah, I would say if you ever watch their Tony performance, you get the snippet of kind of
Okay,
what you can guarantee. Obviously, you're not going to catch the aerial and stuff, but you're going to see a lot of their tricks.
okay.
Um, The Outsiders. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I already talked about it a lot in the Tony Awards episode. Um, but they're still going strong. I don't think they're closing out this year either, I don't believe.
No.
So that makes sense. And then The Notebook, The Love of My Life, The Life of My Love. Such a quality one. I think of all the new ones this year, that was the one that really packed a punch. The Outsiders surprised me because I was just going to go to see what the vibes were, and I was like, wait, I actually kind of like this. This is good. The Notebook, I knew that I was going into, and then even then, I was like, oh, they did the rain scene. What?
And mind you, I have never seen the movie. So I went into this show fully not knowing what was going to happen.
Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling.
I know, I know, I know.
All right.
When I tell you this, I have never cried so much in front of so many people.
Did the ushers tell you to bring tissues? Did you bring tissues?
Yeah,
Did
yes.
they ask you that?
And I was like, okay, when I tell you,
You
I
didn't believe
gasped
them.
in pure silence. And I was like,
No.
I hope this audience is okay with this because I am bawling my eyes. I had to
They were
hold my
crying
knees
with you.
for how much I was shaking. I leaned forward into my seat and held myself because I could
Oh.
not contain the fact that this lady, I
Mm.
cannot, I cannot.
This-
I want to see it again so bad.
Same. I too want to see it again. It's one of those shows. It's just so pretty. I love their lighting for it. Um, like it's just blue, but it's not just blue.
And
You know what I'm
there's
saying?
and
The
it's
staging. When I saw that there was
beautiful.
a pool, a little lake pool, I said, "Oh,
I want to see it again so bad. With
yeah."
Joy's understudy. Joy's understudy
Oh, okay. I haven't heard about her.
on TikTok. She like Joy does it. The way Joy sings is like, I want this. I want this so bad to be happy. Her
Mm-hmm.
understudy sings it like, if I don't get this, I will never be happy. And
Mm,
it's so like the her like she catches the end of every line in the song like with her it
yeah. I love acting. It's so cool how people
oh
perceive different people perceive the same character in like the I want of it all in like the acting world.
your motives.
That's
You gotta
cool.
get your motives. What are your
Yeah, there we go.
motives?
The motives. Look, I took a little TDF class, TDEF or whatever it was. But whatchamacallit? Did you want to talk about any other ones that you saw before we move on to what's coming in the fall?
Um, I think the one that I will forever stand that I'm mad that it did not get nominated. I'm mad that it left so early. I
Mm.
hope that it comes back on Broadway or even off Broadway. I
Yeah,
think because it was such a very much new musical, Broadway was not ready for it. But
maybe I should.
Limpika,
Got it. Okay.
I went not knowing what the show was about. I just knew it was about lesbians.
Hmm.
Realistically, I knew that that's what it included.
Uh-huh.
First 10 notes of the opening number, you're like, oh, this is very much a new age musical. Broadway is not ready for this.
Wait,
The
why? What did it sound like? Like
it
what's
like so like I think with like traditional musicals, like the music is very much like it rhymes, like the lyric, like it goes together. Like you're like, okay, this is a
mm,
song. Whereas then Pika, like she was like it's singing, but like some of it was like they're singing um their script. Like
okay.
it sometimes like it was like if they were just talking, it like it wouldn't sound like a
Mm,
song. It wouldn't, but like and then like the music was very like poppy, very upbeat, but it's not like a jukebox type of deal. Like it's and
mm,
it's like it's just so like you listen to the music, and I have never heard a musical like it so far. And it's not like The Wiz, it's not like The Notebook, and that like a new music. It's not like shows like that. It's not like SpongeBob where it was like, oh, okay, this is different.
yeah.
Like it is about the actual painter Lempicka, and it's about her story. But it's just so good. So good. And I recommend anybody like that's where I hope theater goes. And I think there
Mm,
is a part in what we will be talking about and what I hope theater goes.
yeah.
But if you ask me where I hope Broadway goes, then Pika is that.
Okay. See, I feel like they also didn't promote it as well.
They did not.
Because I literally didn't know what it was about. I never really heard much about it. I just heard Lempicka, come see it. It's like, well, what is it about? I don't know who that person is, kind of thing.
And
So
I
I
think
think if
that
they would have pushed it more.
I feel like that might have been the point because when you see the
Mm.
show, you're like, oh, okay. But I agree in that it
From a
should have gotten
marketing
more.
standpoint. I think from a marketing standpoint, like I'm not this huge marketer, but a person who like understands like people's drive to go take that extra step to go see something and put in that extra coin because Broadway does cost. Um, yeah,
And
I
the
think
show
that
was a production. And I
yeah,
think having seen it, I'm like, if it would have started off Broadway, let people see it,
let it
and then
cook,
go to Broadway, I think it would have stayed. But I do
probably.
hope it comes back because it was
Yeah.
so good. I'll even produce it. I'll pay for it. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it again. Part two. Okay, that's good to know then. Yeah, no, I definitely would see it and it didn't catch my attention enough. Um, I also never knew anything about what it was about. Didn't hear any snippets of things. I think they should have done some more like commercials and, things like that. Like I said, while, it feels very old fashioned, and I say that with quotations. Commercials do actually help, like whether it's on YouTube or TV, if you still do that too, like
Even
um
on
they do.
TikTok.
Yeah, on TikTok as well. Exactly. Instagram, all the above. Because I do get musical ads on there too. Okay. Let's talk about what's happening in fall 2024 specifically. And what's happening with this new I feel like the second wave of 2024 of like refreshing Broadway. Um, it's gonna be quiet for a bit, but they're not closing so many, but they're closing a good chunk. Um, what Broadway shows are you most looking forward to seeing this fall?
I so like I think for the like value of just like wanting to see somebody in it, I really, really am excited for Gypsy to see Audra in
Mm,
it. I'm
yeah.
so excited for that one.
Hmm.
When they were announcing it, I was like, what is this gonna be? And then when I saw that it was gonna have Audra in it, I was like, okay, we're gonna cook with this
Or
one.
signed up.
The ones that I'm like I'm excited to see like the one that I'm like just because I love the movie, Death Becomes Her. So
Mm.
excited for that one. I'm excited to see because I saw the preview of it with oh, what's her name from Destiny's Child?
Oh, my girl, Michelle.
Yes. Um, I saw the clip with her and like I'm excited to see those parts of the show, like the magical parts and like the
Hmm.
fantastical parts of the show. Um, but that I'm excited to see how they do the like sci-fi parts of the movie. So like when she has a hole in her
Mm.
stomach, how do they do those parts?
Yeah.
I did see Tammy Faye
Okay.
because I saw the movie and I thought Jessica Chastain did beautifully in it. And so I'm excited to see another iteration of it on stage. And then the one that I'm like excited to see one just because of who's in it, Sunset Boulevard, because it has
Nicole.
Nicole Scherzinger in it.
Hmm.
But also like I really have no idea what it's about, but I have a feeling just from the marketing that I've seen from it, it looks different from shows that have been on stage right now. Um, very much when I see that marketing, it reminds me of the marketing of Lempicka. And so I'm like, I have no idea what this
Mm.
is about. And so that's why I want to go see it.
Got it. Okay. So apparently it's coming from the West End. So I'm curious, like, I think for me, I might see if I could find like little snippy snips to just kind of get an
Mhm.
idea of what it is. For Sunset Boulevard. We also have so I to not connect the dots there until you just said that. Woo! I've seen clips of Michelle Williams on Death Becomes Her, but I did not connect the dots of it being Death Becomes Her. If that thing, I didn't, those
Right?
dots
Because
did not connect.
you don't notice that it's the same show.
Yeah, exactly. So I was always intrigued by it anyways. Um, I think it was more so when I saw they had the auditions for it like in June
Mm-hmm.
or July.
I
And
remember.
yeah, so I was like, ooh, okay. So I'm excited for that. I definitely want to see Michelle and see what's up. I've never seen the movie and I think I want to leave it like that until I see the show. I think that's where I'm gonna stay with that.
After
I'm
doing the notebook like that, I agree.
okay, see? Okay, there we go. And then we also have, like you said, Gypsy. I just want to. I've never seen Gypsy. Don't really know 100% of what Gypsy is about. And but I know Audra, and I want to go see Audra. So
Hey,
yeah,
Vana,
I told you
how
I'm not really a oldie musical person. I'm very contemporary style. So you really got to convince me. There could be a chance where I'm like, ooh, I ended up actually really liking. Oh my gosh, I don't want to say her name. Funny, funny girl. There we go.
but
But
okay,
I didn't see
granted,
it with
I'm
Leah.
a
I
girl.
saw it
I've
with
never seen a girl.
No, I
I
actually
probably
like
should.
it, but I liked the understudy better. I think her name is Julie. She's
Yes,
fire, by the way.
yes.
She needs
I
to be
want
a
her to
main
get more.
lead. Yeah, she needs to be a lead in something on her own, not just the understudy.
Hmm.
Um, and then whatchamacallit. Um, so just because I'm mentioning it because Sutton's coming back, I just want to know. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm not trying to be mean. This girl is booked and busy. This woman is booked and busy. Okay. I want to get her manager. And I know she's been around for a long time.
Her and her vibrato been walking around Broadway for years.
And I don't want to be mean, but I don't get the hype personally. But good for her. Um, Once Upon a Mattress. She's gonna be in Once Upon a Mattress. I also don't know anything about that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I'm just drinking haterade. I'm just kind of tired of seeing her. I'm just I and I used to watch Bunheads. Like I was vibing with her. But for me, I'm just like it's also kind of like the way of like I want to see other people get those chances that
Uh-huh.
she's constantly getting, and the other people those deserve those spots because once again, I think there's people who can do better. So that's all I'm saying. Not saying she still get her jobs here and there, but she does not take a break. She was just in Sweeney Todd and then went right into Once Upon a Mattress rehearsals, and now Once Upon a Mattress is about to open up at the end of the month. So yeah, um, maybe happy ending. Did you hear about that with
Uh,
Darren Chris? So Darren
no.
Chris Yeah, see, I knew it. It'll catch your attention. Darren Chris and Helen J. Shen. They're gonna be the two leads. I looked at it. I looked it up a little bit because this is how I also found out about it. They were having auditions for it, and it's basically like two like kind of like AI people, and they end up like falling in love in this like kind of like dystopian world, and it's actually a revival because in a way because it was originally produced in Korea. So now it's here and it's come to the US. I'm in. I'm very intrigued. You know, I love me a little romance. So especially because if you look at it, you see the snippets, they're not robotic, but they're very like, it's very AI
What is it
vibes.
called?
Maybe happy ending. They have one little trailer. I don't know if there's been any additions since I've seen it, but they have a little trailer and I liked it. And I was like, okay. But yes, it's a musical. That's gonna preview in October. So I'm excited
Okay.
for that. They also have A Wonderful World coming out, um, based off Louis Armstrong. There we go. I was about to call him Neil. Louis Armstrong. I like his music and I've always liked it. So I am very intrigued by that. Um, we're not in a resurgence again of like bio musicals. I feel like once they kind of popped off, they never really left. I think there's less of them now, but I think we're
Because the
now seeing
last one
like
on
adaptations.
stage is MJ.
Yeah, MJ's still around. Yeah. And I
Because
think that's
Tina
it. Yeah.
left, right?
Yeah, Tina left a while ago. Yeah, Tina left. Donna did not make it. Um,
R.I.P.
and
Donna.
I
I
know,
see.
R.I.P. Donna. But yeah, MJ has been around for a minute. I think it will be around for a long time. I think they're celebrating 5 years on Broadway, which I'm
Oh
like,
wow!
yeah, I was like, they've been around for that long,
I thought it was newer.
right? So I'm like, oh snap! But I've been trying to go. They're so hard to get tickets. Their tickets are so expensive. Their
Yeah, they
tickets are
are.
so expensive. Um, and then whatchamacallit, just to jump into 2025 real quick, I did want to note Betty Boop is coming in
I'm
May.
so
Ah,
I'm sorry, Mike. People to the headphone user. I've been watching that since it started wherever it is right now, Chicago or wherever it is.
yeah.
Uh, and when they first released the first song, I am so excited for the show. Okay, continue, Kivana.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, um, yeah, no, I am also very excited. Oh, I also wanted to update. I was wrong. They opened in 2022. So I don't know if I'm mixing up a date or mixing up a person. I don't know if I'm mixing up not Broadway, maybe Existence, but or maybe I'm confusing with another show. But somebody's celebrating 5 years. But I just wanted to make sure I had that right. But for Betty Boop, I they popped off a bit on TikTok for me about half a year ago, I want to say,
Yeah.
or so. And then I haven't really seen much about them since, but they are still around. Like they're getting ready for um another stop before they hit New York.
Mhm.
Um, but no, I've been excited for it for a minute, especially because I was like, we got a black Betty Boop. I'm excited.
Yes. Well, because Betty
So
Boop is black.
yeah, no, I know. And I was just like, yes, okay. So like we're doing
So
some
glad
things
that they
right.
cast it correctly.
Yeah. And then another thing I'm excited for, Smash. I once again don't know much about Smash, but that's coming out spring 2025 as well. No official date as of yet. And then for plays, let's talk about plays for a second. The Roommate with Patty LuPone is coming.
Uh huh.
Patty LuPone and Mia Farrow. And then I don't know about if I'm gonna see The Roommate, but I know for a fact I'm going to see Romeo and Juliet with my girl Rachel. Okay. I don't really know Kit like that, but I'm going for my girl Rachel. And because I love Romeo and Juliet, and I get to see Rachel because she ate down in Songbirds and Snakes, or Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And then for spring of 2025 as well for plays, Denzel Washington is coming back, and he's playing Othello. He's gonna be in Othello with Jake Gyllenhaal. So I will
Yours.
nope, I will be in the theater spring 2025. I don't really watch plays like that, but I'm seeing Denzel again. I'll let you know that. I saw the piano lesson.
Gagged.
Yeah.
Gagged.
No, that lies.
I
Piano
love
lesson
living
was with
in New York.
Samuel, but have I ever seen Denzel? No, I haven't seen Denzel in the play yet because he hasn't really been in plays in a minute. But
I
I saw
love
the
living.
piano lesson with his son. I saw the panelist with Samuel L. Jackson. Um, and then oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to say Denzel Washington's son. I can't think of his first name right now. And then also Danielle, my girl Danielle. They were all in together. So we got to see their acting, their acting
Oh,
skills.
wow.
So I'm excited because I've never just imagine seeing Denzel Washington
That's
acting
wild.
in front of your face. Those tickets are gonna be expensive, and I'm gonna get
Uh-huh.
them on a budget.
Uh-huh.
It's still gonna budget. The budget's still gonna budget. Um, so yeah, those are the ones I'm really excited for, and I'm glad that you talked about the ones you're excited for too, because I don't really know much about Tammy Faye either. Um, but while we're kind of in that realm of things, let's talk about before we kind of wrap up, like the cultural impact of Broadway theater in 2024. How do you think it has evolved, and what trends do you see happening, and where do you think it's gonna go in the future?
I I think I still stick. I think seeing the shows that have come out so far, I'm excited because I think we're like a lot more people are starting to realize like we need new things. We
Mm,
need whether that means like revamping certain shows or just bringing out like new musicals like with Limpika. Yes, didn't last long, whatever. But
mm,
I think just the fact that it was on Broadway that like I'm excited to see more shows that like either people don't know what to think about or are uncomfortable or like just tell different stories than what we have been told. And
mm,
like this just goes again into the conversation that I have been having for a very long time, in that I think Broadway, we need a cute little renaissance. And I'm seeing
mm,
us go into that with seeing a lot of our shows closing or just like popularity just kind of dying,
yeah.
because I think we're getting to the point where like just everybody, we're like, okay, so what's new? What's
Mm,
next? What?
yeah.
And I think it also comes with like the people who are like our age and stuff. Like we're wanting to see a lot more shows that are like, please make us cry. Let us have fun. Let us like enjoy like the
Mm,
things that suck, but also let us like talk about like real world stuff. Let us like forget about the fact that life sucks for a little bit. Let's not forget
mm,
that life sucks. Like, and I think show I'm ex- I think we're going to see a lot more shows that happen on college campuses,
mm,
meaning that
mhm,
shows that like talk about topics that like we don't want to talk about, like whether that's like money or like war or about like
mm,
gay people, queer people, like stuff
mm,
like that. I think we will see a lot more of that. And I'm saying that
mm.
hoping that me putting that out in the world will make that happen.
No, I think you're right. And I think we're on the right track. I think and Juliet existing is a great start right there.
Like Illinois,
Mhm.
having
Oh
that on
yeah, I've seen snippets too. Yeah. So
having
I
that on is good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I really do think we're in a good path. Because there are a lot of people who've been like, oh no, like, but not only is it showing, because I feel like also too, there's a harsher world acceptance, like of people who are non-binary and who are like trans, and to also like be able to display that on stage. And that's super important. And I think that we are seeing it and it's being accepted in a larger scale, the fact that it's still on stage.
Not even
Um,
like the shows that we have, but like having Jinx on Chicago or like Little Shop of
mm,
Horrors, having a
mhm.
trans person be in
Yeah.
like female, like
Mm,
what? Thank you,
yeah.
2020, for bringing us here. Let's
Mhm.
continue on this path. Ease on down the
Yeah.
road. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. But I think so, because like even we had a Strange Loop. People loved a Strange Loop. It's such a good show. It really is. Um, and then we also had, I can't think of it at the moment. Oh my gosh, but somewhere, something, what is that show called? I can't think of the name. It's going blank. Some like it hot. There we go. My
Yes.
brain was fighting for its life. Um, Even some like it hot. I remember people were like, "Ooh, like I know I didn't know the movie line. I didn't watch the movie." They're like, "Ooh," but then the way they flipped it and changed the story and made it um with the current times and made it acceptable was so important as well. So I really do see it happening, for sure on sprinkle here, sprinkle there in different shows. But whatchamacallit, um, I do want to talk about some shows that are coming up that I'm very, or like they're in the works. Now, I want to know what you think would happen with them, um, and if they will ever come to fruition or fruition, as they say. Because one, 13 going on 30 has been in the works for years. Do you think it'll ever happen? Do you think it'll ever come up?
I think they might wait and see. I think they're gonna wait until The Devil Wears Prada comes to Broadway and see how that does.
Forgot about.
I
Okay.
think how that does, and then
Hmm.
if a movie like that does well as a musical, I think 13th going on to 30 might happen.
That's so wild, though. I don't know how long The Devil Wears Prada has been in the works, but 13 going on 30 has been a work in progress since before COVID hit.
Devil Wears
So
Prada
two, yeah, see.
been going
So
on
I
for
was,
hot. I remember I was like, "Oh, I thought it was gonna start here," and then I remember when they were like,
mm,
they announced it. I think a year ago that it was gonna start in the West End, and I was like,
mhm,
"Okay, cool." And then they announced maybe a month ago the cast.
got it. Okay. Well, because here's the thing. So we saw how Pretty Woman went. So I feel like, do you think they're kind of basing off of like, because that's kind of the similar theme. I mean, Devil Wears Prada is not a rom-com necessarily, but it's like one of those big movies
I think what
adaptations.
personally, so like Pretty Woman, I have maybe seen once. So like I think
Um,
that's one show where like I was like, didn't really care. Whereas like Devil Wears Prada, I think culturally is much bigger. And
yeah,
so like
I agree.
at least for this generation, I hate saying that. So
Mm,
I think that one might be more popular. And so I think seeing that, I think 13 going to 30 might be in that same realm compared to
mm,
Pretty Woman.
okay, gotcha. Okay, I see that. Um, Let me throw some out. I'm just throw some out and you tell me which ones catch your attention. That these are things that are in the works. 17 again, Zac Efron version.
Yeah.
Um, The Bodyguard, I've heard
I thought
about
that,
that. Yeah, it did. It's more so like, is it gonna happen for Broadway? They're working
uh,
on that. And I think when they do this in between stage, because the Bodyguard toured 2017, 2018, I think this is like a lot of restructuring. Kind of like how Kiss My Ass is like, where the heck are you going? Where are you at?
literally,
I think that's what's happening.
literally.
Coco, Crazy Rich Asians. Yeah, they're thinking they're of putting it on stage as an adaptation, stage adaptation.
I've been saying Coco for years. Coco
Yeah.
for years. An
Hmm.
undergrad. Coco needs to be on stage, visually
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's in the work section on playbill.com. Um Gatsby. I don't think it's gonna come anytime soon while the Great Gatsby is happening. I don't
Yeah.
think. And then we have like Hippish Trip, the Soul Train musical, which I've heard about in SF, so I'm very intrigued by. It looks fun. The Karate Kid, La La Land, which I think would be a very easy switch over. Um, Something called Imitation of Life. John Legend did the music for it. I'm very curious about that. It's based on a Fanny Hertz novel. I don't know who that is. I'm so sorry. Um, we got The Nanny, which I love The Nanny. I'd be very intrigued by that. I'd be very intrigued by
You're
that.
kidding.
Yep, and
I love
Fran is
that.
on the creative team. So like she's a part of what's happening and she's ma helping make
Oh,
decisions there.
I love that.
Yeah. Purple Rain, so it seems like this would be a Prince.
Okay.
Yeah, the show will premiere in Minneapolis in 2025, so we'll get those first snippets there before, they figure out if they're gonna hit Broadway or not. Sinatra the musical,
Okay.
Thelma and Louise. And yeah, there's just a lot of interesting things that are possibly down the line. And once again, Kiss My Aztec is not anywhere on there.
I need them to get it together. I need John to get it together.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I think, and that's why I
Uh,
wanted to bring this up in the line of what you were saying was like what Broadway is ready for. And I remember us talking about it the first time we saw Kiss My Aztec at La Jolla Playhouse. Like, is Broadway ready for this? Can this make it on Broadway? And I think maybe John's just trying to give them time.
yeah,
That's
because honestly, right now, I don't think it would.
I
To be
agree.
really
Yeah.
honest, I don't think it
Mm-hmm.
would do well right now. Off Broadway,
Yeah.
possibly. I
Mm-hmm.
think give it another 2 years, I think we would eat it up.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, maybe he's waiting for that 2026, you know? So everybody else is doing their own thing, getting their own money elsewhere. Hell's Kitchen, Homegirl made her Broadway opening at Hadestown, and they're all doing different things right now. I think eventually they'll come together and
Yeah.
keep workshopping Kiss My Aztec, and I'm excited for that. Um, but yeah, that's kind of just like our little breakdown of what's happening in 2024, shows we've seen, shows we want to see, shows that are coming down the line past 2024. I'm very excited to see the shows that are coming up, like Death Becomes Her, etc. Very excited to see what you end up seeing and what we end up liking versus, be like that sometimes. But thank you so much, Daniel, for hopping on this episode with me and talking about it. It's always a fun time talking about musicals.
Of course.
And then the listeners out there, thank you so much for listening. Let us know what musicals you've seen, what musicals you are excited for. What's your favorite musical out of all time? Just very curious about that as well. Make sure you share, like, and follow this podcast, send it to a friend, a family member, a loved one. Follow me at Kayvana on Instagram to get podcast updates and at the Introvert Social Hour on TikTok. Get some sunshine, get some air, have an amazing week. I will see you next week on the Introvert Social Hour. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.